y'all. Welcome to the Honest to Goodness podcast,
where we give you our honest opinions
on good entertainment. I'm Morgan.
I'm Carrie.
I'm Nicole.
And without further ado,
here's today's episode.
We hope you enjoy.
Hey y'all, we're back. And we are here to discuss the episode 3 of When Calls the Heart. Guys, I love this episode so much. It was
yes,
so
me too. Yeah.
So
and before we get started, I just have to show off my new shirt.
Yes, I love it.
Just want to take a walk in Hope Valley.
That's so cute.
Thank you, Etsy.
I love that.
Awesome. Oh,
Etsy always really has some really cute stuff.
Yeah.
And I started showing my stepdaughter episodes of When Calls the Heart, of course. I started her with like the very first season 1, episode 1. And her reaction as soon as Daniel Lissing came on the screen was, "Ooh, who's this Prince Charming?"
Love it.
That is like the most genuine, honest reaction that you could probably have for seeing Daniel Lissing is to think Prince Charming.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you don't think of Prince Charming when you see Daniel Lissing,
I think she officially fell in love with Jack Thornton with the "that was just a guess" line.
best line ever.
Besides, take a walk with me. Thank you very much.
Of course. I mean, there's plenty of other lines.
Yeah.
Of course, like be safe, so many others.
Yeah.
But there's just something about that scene that just like really really just took like the whole show. Like it just really made it smart.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so we made it to the episode.
Yeah.
Billy Hamilton was like quoting the poetry when we had to turn it off and go do something else. So so hi Andrew. But she keeps asking, "Do you know this person? Do you know this person?" I'm like, "This one I do know. The rest of them no, but this one I do."
Yeah.
Isn't that so crazy to see him on screen and just being like, we've actually had several conversations with this man.
Yeah.
Like you exchanged emails with him, you've got a script going with him, like, you know.
Yeah. And speaking of Andrew, I just talked to him yesterday for the podcast, or on my podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
For his movie, for Curious Caterer.
I know I really hope that we can get him back for Curious for that.
Yeah,
next
that would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
I do want to try to, at least the majority of the way, finish the edits on that script before we have him back on, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. I've worked on it. I just haven't had a chance to do everything.
It hasn't ran through me to get proofread and like obviously my creative genius.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, both of y'all. Nicole, I read it.
Oh yeah, Nicole too, of course.
Get in touch with your inner, I forgot the line.
The inner core of your being. And you actually got to read that to Andrew on this podcast.
And he loved it.
He did.
Reaction.
Yes.
He was like, yes.
Oh my word. It has stayed in there. I have edited a few things, but that line has stayed in there. I'm really excited. It was really fun to
we'll
go
have to hire Nicole to like instruct the actress that gets casted on how to do it. She's gonna have to do exactly like Nicole does it, or else she's gonna get
Oh my word. But yeah, I was so excited to hear back from him on that script and to hear that, hey, you know, you make these changes, I'll send it to a producing friend of mine. If he thinks we're good, we'll pitch it. See if they're interested, you know, whatever.
That's awesome.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's a long shot, but it would be so cool. I mean, regardless, it's cool.
Yeah.
But
Hey, even if it's just like this one chance and that's it. Like, hey, at least you were able to say I wrote a script with Andrew Walker and I actually got it made to a movie.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, regardless, it's cool. So
Yeah.
I'm really having fun with it, but I had fun going back and rereading his notes and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, but getting back to season 11.
Yeah, we're not in season 1 anymore, guys. It's been 11. It's been 10 years now. So
Yeah.
how crazy is that?
So crazy.
Yeah.
Like the show, and I love that in that it kind of like it really does feel like that old When Calls the Heart vibes. Like these past couple of episodes have really just sent me back. I love that it's been slow paced still. Like it's heating up a little bit, and I love that it's been gradual. And I love that we're really starting to get to a lot of like plot twists and turns and everything about especially the investigation or even what's going on between Lathan and Elizabeth and different ones. Like this episode is really just it's chock full of things, but it doesn't feel like it's just been mashed together. It feels very like at a very nice pace that really flows well. So I've been loving that about these episodes for sure.
I feel like it's with Nathan and Elizabeth, it's moving at like the slow burn they talked about, but at the same time, I feel like it's moving faster than I expected it to as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, in their own way.
Yeah, in like it's in certain areas. Like not every area of their relationship and what's going on is moving at a fast pace, but other parts are that need to. And if we're gonna have like something happen big at the end of the season, but yeah, I love that there's like a difference with their communication this season. It's like they really are really open with each other a lot more. And like, for instance, we've talked about this before we got on here.
Well, we stayed open this episode.
When Calls the Heart just made history.
Yes, it did.
We're gonna talk about that right now.
We will, though.
Episode.
We will.
But we're not talking about it right now. Y'all need to calm down.
Okay, why don't we start off with Bill investigating?
Your face is turning red.
Why don't we?
That is partially because I did not do makeup, so my lighting is like.
I never wear makeup though.
Why don't we start off with Bill investigating in Capital City, which we did.
I love that. Like it reminded me of whenever he first came to investigate the mine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it sent me back. I was like, oh my God, this is exactly how it was going when Jack had him come to investigate the mine. Like I love this because we're actually getting to see Bill's investigation skills. I am kind of like, I really am missing Nathan's investigative skills. I hope we get to see that further on into the story and into this arc and the storyline. And as the season goes on, I would love at least one scene kind of similar to kind of like whenever he went on that investigation over like the oil stuff going on with Gowan, and he was able to like automatically figure out what was going on.
I think we will.
I would love like another kind of scene like that involving with the investigation, which I understand like he can't really do a whole lot because he was a part of the original investigation. So he has to be careful because I mean there's laws against that because like for instance, I watch a lot of like NCIS, a lot of court like type shows and stuff. They could easily throw out evidence that Nathan finds out about simply because he was part of the original case.
And
now, if Bill does, or Rosemary does, or someone like that does, it's totally different. But with the fact that Nathan was originally a part of the original investigation, he could possibly have that evidence thrown out simply because of him being a part of the original one. Now, this is a fictional TV show as well. So I mean, it might not be that case, but.
And there is supposed to be Mountie action in this season. So.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that.
This is true. I love that we're getting to see this side of Bill again, though, because we had started seeing more of a domesticated Bill. I don't know how else to word that. But we had started seeing more of a domesticated Bill.
Domesticated as Bill ever can be.
Exactly.
Without having a wife or children or really having any pleasant moods with people.
Yeah, and that scene also reminded me of Bill in, I think, what was it? Season 3 or late into season 2 when he was investigating the case with the Mountie that was crooked.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name,
I
but the
remember
one that
what
held
you're
him at
talking about.
gunpoint in the
Mhm.
woods and Jack
Yeah.
saved him. Yeah.
I remember what you're talking about, but my brain is blanking on names and seasons.
I want to
I
say
think it
season
was
3. I think it was
Yeah.
season 3. I don't think it was in season 2 because a lot of season 2 was in Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of that season was in Hamilton. When it
Mhm.
You know,
comes,
the
like,
first
at
time I
least
made
with
that
Jack.
mistake again.
At least with Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I absolutely love Bill in this role. I'm loving
Mhm.
seeing that side of him come out again.
Mhm.
But I'm also loving the Bill and Rosemary duo.
Oh
Yeah.
man, a duo we really did not think that could be so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we get into Bill and Rosemary, what did y'all think of the scene with Nathan and Bill in the Mountie office? I think it was the one after he went to Capital City, and they're talking
Okay.
about
Okay.
I
and
love
I
that it was a
think-
throwback to when Nathan
Yes.
first came to Hope Valley and Bill was taking over his desk.
the
If I'm the
timing.
only one who was expecting, like, when he's like, Bill, what are you doing here at my desk? Was I the only one expecting a again to come out of his mouth?
I
Yeah.
was.
Bill believes the timing doesn't make sense. Pike said in his confession he fired 2 shots, then ran to the back of the alley, stashing the gun in the storm drain. Edwin claims when he heard the shots, he ran outside immediately and saw the getaway car speeding away out front. Pike would have been in the back alley, which means he couldn't have acted alone. Montague could have hired Pike and a driver. And of course, that makes Montague think he's all free and clear.
Honestly, I already knew that Montague wasn't going to be the one that was going to fire the shot.
No.
When this season
Or,
first
yeah.
happened and everything, and they had him having an alibi, and there being a bunch of people that saw him,
Mhm.
and then all this kind of stuff like that, I started putting the pieces together. I was like, yeah, that definitely makes sense that Montague didn't actually fire the shot. Now, obviously, he could still be a part of it, but like it's not that unrealistic that someone would hire someone else to do the dirty work for them, especially with them being in high political office or very much like known and
Yeah.
recognizable. Plus, like he couldn't have bet that Lucas was going to hit his head and get amnesia. So there was no way he was going to reveal himself to Lucas and shoot it and fire shots at him.
Yeah. And of course, we found out at the end of the episode that Montague has a solid alibi.
Yeah, those picture proofs that he was with the governor after Lucas was already shot.
But Rosemary and Bill agrees with her that despite the evidence,
he's definitely involved.
They can't rule him out completely.
Somehow. Yeah, whether it's he is the one that and Pike could still be a part of all of this. I'm kind of leaning towards him not being involved at all, except maybe as the getaway driver. But I mean, even Lucas admitted that he didn't know Pike before, right? Didn't he say like he didn't really know Pike before the shooting?
I don't remember.
I don't
I'd have to go back and watch. I don't think he did.
I could be wrong, but because we've never heard of Pike before all of this, and he says to the person, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
So to me, that puts 2 and 2 together that he knew this person, and we've never known him to know him. Like we don't know that he knows him. So it's like that kind of is the only thing that kind of really sets to me that Pike is definitely not the person that actually did the shooting. Now he could be like the getaway driver. Not ruling that out. Honestly, I think it's Janette. I think it's Janette that did it.
That shot Lucas?
Yeah.
What makes
Now,
you
I
think
could be
that?
wrong. The reason
I'm
why
just
I
curious
say
what
that,
you think.
the reason why I say this is because how many times have we, like, since Lucas has been in Hope Valley and has been involved, and we've heard him having phone calls with her, and he's like the whole money, and then like in the very first season, like she sends him a ton of money and a gun
Fish money.
to Hope Valley.
Fish
I
money.
mean, yeah, like all the way from San Francisco.
Yeah.
And like, they're always on the phone. It's always very secretive. Obviously, they're always talking in French so that we nobody around them can understand them. Other than Fiona, who I miss terribly, by the way. But
Yeah.
the reason why I say this, because think about it, we're finally getting to see Janette
Yeah.
in person in Hope Valley.
The only
And
thing
I feel like they're not gonna waste this story. They're not gonna waste getting this character and finally exposing this character after how many seasons of her name being mentioned. I feel like they wouldn't build up the suspense over who Janette is. Like, what is this character? Who is she to Lucas? Like, what is really surrounding their relationship? I feel like they wouldn't waste it on just anything.
Yeah, but it doesn't really make sense. Like, she's always helped Lucas, so why would she not?
and she said that she still cares about him in that preview.
Yeah, but how many times have we had women come into that town and say, "Oh, I still care about you. Oh, I still love you," and only to get an upper under, only to have ulterior
That's true.
motives.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, she
And
could.
there's been plenty of time. There's also been plenty of times where Lucas didn't exactly have a happy tone in his voice while he was talking to her.
No, that's a good point.
I mean, just saying.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I don't
And
know.
she definitely and I'm not like I could be very wrong. I could be very wrong. I'm just saying, like, all that we've ever known about her was that she was an apparent widow and that Lucas helped her from time to time.
Yeah.
And she did the same for him. That's all we knew. I mean,
Yeah.
we knew that there had to be something deeper simply because of how they were interacting with each other. And it's very clear by the previews that they had a relationship at one point. So it's kind of like maybe Janette has something that she wants from Lucas.
Yeah, maybe.
And she could be coming to Hope Valley to really see whether or not he actually lost his memory, or whether or not Lucas might be trying to hide the fact that he knows that it's Janette by faking an amnesia.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be something Lucas would do. I mean, think about it. Lucas would definitely do that. He would fake amnesia to keep Janette safe, and so he could have his own private investigation to see why she did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Lucas has done that before as well. He has fakes. He has a good poker face.
Okay, speaking of faking things, though, Nathan bringing Allie's lunch to school, and she's like, "My lunch is in my school bag because you made it for me this morning." Like,
she totally caught him red-handed.
Yes, she did.
But don't we just love the fact that Allie just like she does not care? She's like, "I'm gonna embarrass you in front of everybody. I don't care. You're lying. You're blaming me for something I didn't do."
And then she just expose you, between the two of them, like, okay, and walks off.
Yeah. Yep.
I bet Nathan was like thinking while he was walking away, like, "Gee, thanks, Allie. Way to be a wing woman."
Right?
Yeah, I did love their conversation too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love the fact that in Nathan and Elizabeth's conversations this episode, he a couple of different times says like normal's good, right? Or it's a good kind of normal, right? Or whatever, because he knows he cannot provide the lavish lifestyle like that Lucas could have. He knows that life with him is just gonna be normal day in, day out drudge.
Yeah.
And he can't promise her any more than that. And he just wants to make sure, hey, like, are you satisfied with that? Are you okay with that? before I put myself out there again after getting slammed down. You know,
not only that, like, not only does he obviously know that at one point she saw Lucas and was like, and chose Lucas after going on all these lavish dates, going to Union City, going to go see a famous writer in person, and going on these lavish dates and having a lavish engagement ring on her finger, about to, like, 3 weeks from her wedding, finally decides to break up with her fiance 3 weeks before the wedding. I mean, and not only that, he's not an idiot. He knows that she has a history from her, like, having, like, she comes from money. She comes from that lavish lifestyle. Not only was she about to have that lavish lifestyle and was about to be satisfied by that lavish lifestyle with Lucas, she came from that lavish lifestyle. So he's like trying to make sure, like, are you still content with having this small town life with a Mountie like you did with Jack?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he can't help but also think back, like, she was at one point married to a Mountie, having this small town life, her being a teacher, him being a Mountie, doing their things, everyday life, same routine, same friends,
Yeah, and she does agree with
because he also knows, like, yeah, exactly. And I think also he's probably also thinking, okay, Lucas is back in town. They're seeing each other face to face after this horrific accident that could have caused Lucas to be gone. I mean, that would cause anyone to start rethinking their decision. So he's probably also trying to make sure, like, what's going on in her head right now with her ex-fiance being in town, who's also conveniently the governor.
In the first scene, she does respond by saying, definitely good normal. And I just have to say this because it's, okay, now don't get me wrong. I love Lucas. But it is kind of funny when they're having these conversations about normal. It's very clear that both of them don't want Lucas in town.
Yes.
Oh, they made it very clear. They both have made it set, like, 2 episodes in a row. They have made themselves very clear, just in facial expressions, that they do not want that man in town.
Yeah.
And I kind of hate that. I kind of hate that.
I mean, I love Lucas.
Because I don't think it's truly that they don't want Lucas in town. I think it's more that they don't want the awkwardness, and they know the awkwardness is going to be there as long as Lucas is in town. Lucas himself is the problem.
Well, honestly, I feel like Elizabeth is aware that Nathan could easily take anything that happens between her and Lucas as a potential threat to their possible situationship, whatever. I don't think she's stupid in the fact that, hey, at one point, this man literally confessed to me that he loved me. And I told him that I love him, but I was not in love with him, and I chose the other man. Like, she's a school teacher. She's very intelligent. She understands how feelings work because she's been through them herself whenever Rosemary came through town and tried stealing Jack away. Like, she's been there, done that as well. So she knows how history can muddle things up and cause misunderstandings. So I feel like she's also worried about a lot of misunderstandings happening and being blown out of proportion, and just wanting everything, and, like, wanting Lucas to leave simply just because of that, not necessarily because she doesn't want Lucas there and her value or Lucas to be in their lives. She just does. She just wants all the possibilities of misunderstandings and problems being caused by Lucas unintentionally to her relationship with Nathan.
Well, perfect description of how she feels about it is her conversation with Rosemary.
I was about to bring that up.
Like, are you glad he's back? And I love how she just, like, slumps in her chair like a little kid. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And Rosemary gives her a cookie. like a cookie is always the answer to Elizabeth, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
But where Elizabeth is like, I want us to go back to be friends, just friends like we were. And Rosemary's
you two were never just friends because
he always had eyes
for you.
Yeah, and Elizabeth,
which was said by Nathan to Lucas at the end of season 8.
Oh, I forgot about that. Lindsay is fixing everything.
She is. She's bringing so much back from the dead.
Yeah, but like
This
I
is
love,
our retcon.
yeah, I love
I'm
that.
sorry.
Scene.
I had to go there.
I love that scene though, because like Rosemary is just putting into perspective, like Elizabeth wants them to just be friends, but Rosemary's putting in perspective, this is going to be hard for y'all to just be friends because he's literally never seen you as just a friend.
Yeah, because I mean, even though, but they never acted as just friends.
No.
That's the big thing. When they were around each other, it was never just as friends. They had that. I will give this. Lucas and Elizabeth had a lot of chemistry, and they did have a lot of romantic scenes.
Yeah.
But it was always constructed that way. It was always purposefully made to be that way because the writers even knew back then their relationship needs to be different from her and Nathan's relationship. There has to be a difference between these two couples and these two ships.
Yeah.
You can't have this woman being in the middle of this triangle with the very carbon copy same relationship. How is she going to be able to choose against that if they're literally the same thing? And I feel like that was also a part of the reason why we never got to see her actually go on a date with Nathan. It was another way of distincting those two characters away from each other because of this situation here. Lindsay is trying to make sure that that's prominent. Like, hey, this is how it's always been. Nathan has always been the best friend first. He's always been that friend, that confidant, that person that she's able to go to when she needs advice, whether it's about Lucas or about LoJack or about Allie or about Rosemary or whatever else is going on in town. If you think about it and you go back to the previous seasons, she got advice or desired advice from Nathan before she ever desired advice from Lucas. Lucas was the fun person that she can go escape life with.
Yeah.
But Nathan was the person that always pulled her back home and pulled her back to reality and pulled her back into being like, hey, you're fine. Little Jack's fine. This is normal. I went through it with Allie, or, hey, you've got this. You know exactly what you need to do,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the reason why, that is the way that it is now.
Yeah. The conversation between Elizabeth and Lucas. First of all, okay, let me backtrack a little bit. First of all, we saw Lee sign the papers. He officially owns the Queen of Hearts. And so I'm really excited about that. But to see Lee support Lucas, still just let him know, hey man, I'm here for you. If you need anything, like he's very close friends with Elizabeth, but he's not just taking Elizabeth's side. He's like, hey man, if you need to talk or whatever, I'm here. I've been told to have a good listening ear. But then
Lee and Lucas did build a friendship.
Yeah.
They were always having conversations without Rosemary and Elizabeth even being around. He was going to be Lucas's best man in the wedding. Like they had a friendship. They had something between the two of them that wasn't just because of Elizabeth and Rosemary. They built it on their own through the talk of business, the oil, for instance, like I think they teamed up together with the oil stuff because like Lee provided the lumber to build the oil rig and everything. Like they had like a constant, work-life balance into their own friendship to where they had something. And like I love that we were able to see Lee still putting an effort into that friendship and being like, hey, I know that you and Elizabeth are no longer together, but that does not mean that me and you are no longer friends. It was kind of like his own simple way, the manly way of not getting too emotional and just simply being, hey man, I'm here for you. Yeah. And that was very heavily needed. That was heavily needed for Lucas. That was heavily needed for Team Lucas. Like, hey, people there are still other reasons why this man is still loved in this town. It's not because of Elizabeth that he was loved in this town. It wasn't because of their relationship that these people had friendships with Lucas. It was because of Lucas. And he's still Lucas, and he's still loved by the people in the town. And it's not just because he's governor and he saved the town.
I did think the scene with Lucas and Elizabeth was great. When they're walking through town.
I love that we finally got that scene though. And like when she asks him like, would you care for some company, whatever, because you can tell she's not sure how does he feel. She just wants to know that he's okay, whatever.
But she doesn't want to pry too much also because she understands that she's not entitled to anything from him. And that includes closure and knowing whether or not he's okay. I love that he makes sure to really look at her in the eyes and be like, everything's on the mend.
He's on the mend.
He knew. He knew that that's what she was seeking. She was seeking this validation, like, hey, I'm fine. I'm going to be fine. You know, there are no pressures.
We're good.
He even told Lee, like, we both want this to just be, us to be just friends.
One foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
But
I love that Lucas said we both want to be just friends.
Yeah. I love that they're not treating this as if Lucas and Elizabeth never had a relationship.
Yeah.
They're handling it very well, in my opinion. Like, because there's the awkwardness there. There's the acknowledgement they did have a very real relationship. Like you said, they were 3 years away from getting married. You know, it's not like it was just a casual relationship. But at the same time, that they're both, as Rosemary said, they're both mature enough to not let that completely stop them. But okay, what did y'all first of all, after we can talk about it now. After she talks to Lucas, who does she go straight to for one thing?
Nathan. And she doesn't even knock. She just walks.
Busts up and they're like, Nathan, I just got done talking to Lucas. Oh. And like automatic disappointment that he wasn't in there. Like, y'all know it's like automatic disappointment that he was not in there. Like, she deflated.
But Elizabeth with Scout.
That was cute.
It reminded me of her and Rip.
Yeah. Although Scout.
Else think of that? Like, I automatically thought of Rip.
Although Scout doesn't give her as much of a hard time as Rip did.
That's true. Like, he's like all four lovings. He's like seeking her out. Like, no need of like a talk.
Like, Jack had to encourage him, even in the New Year's movie.
Oh, I know. He's like,
in that scene,
like,
go on. Go on.
Go on. And he just like looks at him like, do I have to?
Yeah. Oh my
Elizabeth totally did not look away when Nathan came out. She just continued to stare.
And Morgan, you said this earlier, the fact that it took him a split second to realize, oh crap.
Like, I'm shirtless in front of a woman that is not my wife. Like, it took him a beat. It took him a good beat to realize. He's like, oh, crap. But also, the fact that the Mountie office door was wide open. Can you guys imagine if Florence or Molly walked, just like casually walking by with their purses and they just turn and go like,
oh my gosh.
But I can see them both like covering each other's eyes, like putting their, like, Florence putting her hand over Molly's eyes and Molly putting her hand over Florence's eyes.
I cannot see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Elizabeth, first of all, this is just me, but if that had been me, I would have had to have turned around and walked out. I would have, like, had to regather my thoughts, but I would have been like, here's what I came here to talk about. I would have just tried to change the subject. But, of course, Elizabeth,
I wouldn't have been able to. I would have had to get out of there because my face would have been so beet red and embarrassed. I would not, I would
have been laughing. I'm sorry. I would have been laughing. So, like, I would have been embarrassed, but I would have been laughing.
Elizabeth's smile after she walked out was everything.
And the fact that a couple of scenes later, when she walks in the library, she is still smiling.
Well, yeah, because you know she went straight from Mountie office down the boardwalk straight to the library. And have you guys noticed that that's exactly where she goes after she has a major encounter with Nathan?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that sign, Elizabeth. Look at that sign.
Look at the light. Bring it back. Yeah. Bring it back. Bring back the plaque. Bring back the plaque.
Exactly. But yeah, so that scene, When Calls the Heart, just made history.
I can't believe, like, whenever Deidre asked the question the way that she asked it, she's like, is it like a workout scene or is it like a full-on shirtless scene? And like, of course, they both like face because of her obviously having to just not be like, she probably wasn't able to just full on ask, like, is it a shirtless scene? She had to add it with something so that way they had the chance of being able, like, oh, it's one of those. It's one of those. I honestly was thinking it was going to be like a wood chopping scene, or like or maybe he was working out, like maybe he was doing like push-ups or something like that. I was not expecting them to actually give us a shirtless scene.
Yeah.
So
Well, we got it.
wow. I and just to say this, it was tasteful, because
It was.
It's not like they did like a full-on like full-minute shot of him just standing there shirtless. Like, he actually had
shot up the pecs. I know, I'm terrible. I'm sorry.
the one time your behind the scenes brain needed to not show up. Keep it PG, Carrie.
Oh my gosh. It has been done on Little House on the Prairie and Dr. Quinn too. So
Well, still.
yeah. And in a very tasteful way on those shows too. Even though I have not watched Dr. Quinn yet, I have seen the scene.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's what was so, like, that was the only thing that I was kind of worried about whenever they started teasing the fact that we might see Nathan in a, like, shirtless. I was like, I was kind of worried that they were going to make too much of it, and they really didn't. Like, because we barely saw him shirtless. It was like literally almost like a split second or two, because he mainly had like the shirt hanging in front of him, like in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, whenever he did start like turning it, putting it on, they were like way up high, so you really didn't see the rest of his whole like chest and stomach and everything. So I think that they did a really good job of being able to keep it tasteful and not just like.
But honey, that's a long cry from Unburton Surge.
And we thought the warming up of the Surge was going to be the hottest thing that ever happened on Hallmark.
I think it was on one of Suspenders and Buttons posts, might have been earlier today. Nathan Henley less Grant.
There you go. There you go. Okay, now I will say, and I could be totally wrong, but I will say this just popped in my mind, and I'm not trying to be vulgar all here. I'm just being honest, like from a filmmaking perspective or whatever. I think if we do get further seasons of When Calls the Heart, that we will probably get some scenes like you see in Little House on the Prairie all the time of Ma and Pa sitting in the bed. Charles doesn't have a shirt on, you know, like
eating popcorn.
Yeah, so I think we will get some scenes like that if we get to see them as a married couple.
I think we will.
We never got to see Jack and Elizabeth in that way, so I feel like had Daniel not left,
and they cut out the one scene of like him carrying her across the threshold.
Yeah, so I mean that's what I'm saying. Like,
that just makes me mad.
Yeah, had we not had Daniel not left, I feel like we would have eventually had the same things happening with Daniel. I feel like him and Aaron would have probably pushed to be like, hey, like, I get that, yes, we are Hallmark, and yes, we are trying to keep things PG for everyone of all ages.
Yeah.
You know, but we do have to show that they are married.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. My brain just went to the Weddingville movies and Peter and Avery.
Yeah. I'm
but I can totally see. Okay, you know how she like rents the hotel room, or was it the hotel, or was it actually their bedroom?
I think it was a hotel.
It was a hotel, and she had like the flower petals and everything. And
I think it was a hotel.
Exhausted.
Yeah.
He just flops on the bed. I full on see that being Nathan and Elizabeth.
Yep. I can totally see that too. Or even the scenes of them talking in bed. If we see them married, which I think we will.
Yeah.
I'm like almost 99.9% sure.
Right. Like, oh my God. And then just like being so in sync with each other in the bed, like doing like the whole pillow flopping, like taking the pillows off the bed and doing like their own like exchange. And it just seems so routine. Like, I would love to see them just being so in sync with each other and showing that they have a routine with their life. Like
Yeah.
even with Allie and LoJack in the mix of it, and like
I
Well,
think
in Little House on the Prairie, isn't there a scene where I don't remember, Charles was having to work like 2 jobs or something at the time for some reason, I think. And Carolyn is talking to him, working around the fire, and then she walks back in there and he is just like conked out asleep. Like he literally just came in.
I think so. I don't remember what episode.
And then she just falls asleep.
that
He just
would be
asleep. So yeah, having a scene like that where Nathan's just like been working on something and that happens and she goes over, like takes his boots off or whatever,
Mhm.
covers him up, kisses him on the forehead,
I have
whatever.
I have a scene that just went through my brain, and oh
What?
my god.
What?
Go
Okay.
for it.
So we okay, LoJack is still little. Like he's not in school. So can you guys imagine Nathan coming in and like LoJack's running to him like Daddy Nathan or whatever he's gonna call Nathan. We don't know what he's gonna call Nathan. He could have his own name with Nathan, or he might just call him Mountie Nathan still. And like Nathan like scooping him up and giving him a hug and everything like that. And then like Jack's going to show him his toys and everything. So he sits down in like maybe like a rocking chair or something like that. And so like I can see like LoJack bringing him his toys, and Nathan just scoops him up and puts him in his lap, and like they're playing with the toys. And at first he's playing with the toys, but you can see like the exhaustion on Nathan's face. And like then it cuts to obviously Elizabeth and stuff like that, and she's like cooking, and they're still and he's like maybe they're like having a conversation from like across the house. Like she's in the kitchen, he's in there, and like they're kind of talking while he's like preoccupied with LoJack. And then all of a sudden, like she's saying something and she doesn't get a response, and she turns around and he's full on asleep with like LoJack in his lap.
That would be really sweet.
Or if he like goes maybe in the middle of the night or something, and little Jack's woken up from a nightmare or something, he goes in there to calm it down, and he doesn't come back, and Elizabeth walks in there, and Nathan has fallen asleep in the bed with little Jack. Whatever, like scenes like that. Yeah,
I think this shirtless scene totally opened the door, like even more than it already was, for scenes like this with Nathan and Elizabeth.
100%.
And I mean, not to get off topic too much here for a second, but
it's okay. We're already totally off.
Let's face it, we're going down the rabbit trail full stop.
But I will not confirm nor deny that there is a
bedroom scene.
of Shane and Oliver. I will not confirm nor deny.
Oh, okay. I know. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So,
yeah, you showed us that in the group chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will not confirm nor deny.
I mean, I really do think that, like, I mean, we finally, like, I mean, crying out loud, we got to see Lee and Rosemary in their bedroom like not too long ago for the first time. And like have we ever seen Elizabeth's bedroom?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen her. Yeah, we've seen LoJack's bedroom, but we've never seen her. Like we've seen LoJack's nursery, and now we've seen his big boy bed and everything like that, but we've never seen Elizabeth's room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, moving on, because we've already been going about an hour.
Oh my gosh.
We haven't even gotten through half of the episode.
I know. We're gonna have to hit highlight. Hallmark, just freaking hire us already, okay? Y'all know we're great. Andrew,
come on, even Andrew Walker sees something.
Applications, okay?
Can we just briefly talk about Nathan training Scout just for a second, because that was so cute.
That was gonna be the next thing I was gonna mention, because like I love that he's out there trying to train Scout, and the Scout runs off to Elizabeth, and he's like, "Sorry for barging in," and she's like, "Well, I guess that makes us even now."
I love that he was being almost like a soft drill sergeant with Scott. I mean, with Scout.
Yeah.
Also,
Also, another
behind his back and his chest all out, and he's just like Scout.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Also, another highlight, one of my favorite scenes in the episode, Elizabeth and Toby at the library. Yeah. Oh.
My heart.
Yes. This brought me back to early seasons of Elizabeth with her students.
Yeah.
It's been a while
since I really missed that 101, because I feel like we haven't gotten a whole lot of 101. with other kids outside of like Allie.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think, there was another thing. Okay, Morgan, how they got the building for, I was talking to Morgan on her drive home from work, how they got the building for the daycare.
Oh, that was cute.
They totally exploited Henry's weakness. That poor old man never stood a chance looking at that darling little face.
The way Forrest just like pushes her to the forefront because they know what they're doing.
But let's be honest. That was cute. Like I can't see Henry saying no, even if they didn't use the little girl. I feel like he would have been like, absolutely, because like, what does he need with it? Yeah. He's not really doing anything. He's kind of doing his own thing right now. He's not really like, he has no business propaganda. Like, he's not involved in any businesses.
He's basically a farmer.
Yeah, he's basically just like doing his own thing, and he's doing it by choice. Like anything that he's doing it by his own free will, his own choice.
Yeah.
So I feel like it really like if they didn't have to, but it was so cute. I'm so glad they did it like that because it was absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I loved. Speaking of like highlights, I loved the scene between Faith and what's her name?
Lily. When she calls her auntie.
When she calls her Auntie Faith.
Yeah, because she was.
I didn't like it. I did, but I didn't like it because I feel like Faith is more of a mom to her than an aunt. So I felt that
I guess it's because because Faith doesn't want to come on too strong because she doesn't know if she's going to be able to keep Lily. So I guess one of the reasons why they went in with the auntie route is because, like, if you think about it, aunties aren't always there 24/7.
Right.
You know, some aunties live well off. Some aunties are right down the street. Some are next door. Some are states away, miles away, countries away. So I feel like they kind of did as a safe thing for right now. But who knows? Maybe later on she has a conversation with Faith, and she's like, I don't want to call you Auntie Faith anymore. I want to call you Mom. Like maybe there'll be kind of like that kind of a conversation, whether it's this season, next season, whatever. Because like we don't know how everything's going to end with the grandma, because the grandma might not die. She might just be put into intensive care and is like in a nursing home.
Yeah, nursing home, and she just can't take care of her.
Yeah, or like, and there is a chance that she won't stay with Faith. I know the family member could come in, like you don't like that they never even knew about.
That happened with Abigail and Cody and Becky.
I mean, exactly. So I mean that kind of story
their
might
aunt
happen again. Exactly. And so like they right now they're trying to play it safe by having her be auntie because like, you know, they're not gonna jump everything so soon. I mean, it's only 2 episodes in.
Yeah. I remember that was a mic drop moment for me in season 3. I was like, what?
Right?
Yeah.
Like she did not just come.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike and May, this episode.
I'm getting so confused with them.
Okay. Here's my thing. I love them. I do. But they do need to grow up a little. They're acting like they're very immature. And here's my thought. This is another reason why I don't think it's them getting married. I think that Lindsay and the writers are doing this purposefully. They're showing the first love kind of, you know, immature, not necessarily in a bad way, but they're showing that with Mike and May to contrast Nathan and Elizabeth's mature adult love, which Erin keeps saying in her interviews.
Yeah. Okay. Now I love, and I'm a complete klutz. So I love the fact that May called him out on the fact that with your luck, you would fall out of the thing and break.
Okay. Can we just talk about the
podcast?
Can we just talk about the fact they brought up the hot air balloon and kind of dissed it?
I thought that was so cool. I will say this, like okay, like for instance, like she didn't remember that it was their 5-month anniversary. And usually the girls always know.
Yeah.
It's very rarely the guys that ever really, like, at least in TV and like movies, they always make it seem like the guys never know the anniversary and the girls always remember and everything. I'm sorry, I know my mind, I would forget.
And I'm sorry, but what couple, unless you're literally saving your first kiss until your wedding, what couple has dated steadily for 5 months and not
kissed?
Right.
That's
See, I
another
don't think
thing.
they're actually going to get married. I do think that they're going to try this. They're going to like think that's what they need to do next or whatever, or if they feel pressured into it, whether it's outside people pressuring it, or maybe they feel pressured by each other, not realizing that that's not what the other person is wanting. They're just doing it because that's like the standard, and they see all these other people around them have done it. Like they see how, like, not May necessarily, but think about it. Hickam has seen all of the relationships that have happened in Hope Valley. He's seen Rosemary and Lee. He's seen Elizabeth with Jack. He saw, Florence and Ned. He saw all of these different relationships happening in short spans of time, long spans of time, like seeing all of these different versions of a relationship. And so he's probably basing a lot of what he's doing with May off of those relationships. Because we've never seen him in a relationship. I feel like this is like his first relationship. May, yeah, she was married, but we all know that that was nothing but for personal gain and not really a true marriage.
Yeah,
so it's like I feel
bad for Hickam in a way though, because he's always portrayed. He's never been portrayed as the smart guy. Yeah, like he's very capable, but he's always portrayed as the kind of, I don't want to say slow in a bad way, but slow in a way, clumsy, awkward, whatever. So I don't really know that we're ever going to see him as the mature person that we're expecting out of this.
Right.
Necessarily, simply because he's never been portrayed that way.
I don't want them to break up. I do like
I don't
Mike
think they'll break up.
I don't think they will either, but you never know. But like I feel like eventually, whether it's literally right before they're about to walk down the aisle, I feel like eventually they're going to be like, okay, we're not communicating. We're not telling each other what we're thinking, because it's clear. It's very clear the two of them are missing the signals that, hey, like, we're each, doing things for the other person, even though we don't really want to do it.
They're not ready.
Yeah, no, they're nowhere.
Like they're not communicating at all, like they should. Which I get it from May's point of view, because May was in a, toxic relationship.
Heck, I was married 5 months into my relationship. Okay, I was just counting that up. I mean, come on. Like if you've been dating someone for 5 months and you don't even know how to put together a special date for them, which granted they keep getting interrupted.
Yeah. I think this was the biggest interruption I've ever seen happen for a couple.
The picnic that gets interrupted by Lucas, Elizabeth, and the school.
All the kids.
Oh my gosh.
Paper guy from the Bugle.
Plot twist.
Rosemary and Lee and Edwin and the whole shebang.
Can I just briefly mention Elizabeth was not thrilled at all that Lucas had his arm around her.
She did not know what to do.
She wasn't. Okay.
And did you catch what the actual final photo looked like?
Yeah.
Her looking at him, and what you would think is her looking lovingly at him.
So Nathan could see that picture on the freaking front page. But
I have some thoughts, but I'll share them when we get to the end.
Yeah, but okay, plot twist within that episode of that where they are talking about building their
Hills
is part of Benson Hills, Hope Valley.
I knew there was something that was gonna halt the resort. I knew there was gonna be something.
How can that be true though if Lee owned the land?
Well, Lee claimed that he told him. Lee claimed that he told Lucas that he knew that the place was from Benson Hills. Even Rosemary knew, because she was like, I thought you knew. So, I mean, it's not far-fetched that he bought land even in Benson Hills. Like, Lee is a very mindful businessman. He probably bought that land for the sawmill, not for them to actually use something for Hope Valley.
Edwin.
He acted sketchy. He's acted so
very sketchy.
He did, but I told Morgan this earlier. I was like, I feel like Edwin is becoming the person that the writers want us to be. Yeah. I said, I feel like he's becoming the person that they want us to be suspicious of, that we shouldn't actually be suspicious of. I don't know.
But at the same time, think about it. We are very heavily behind the scenes minded.
Yeah.
Not everybody is that behind the scenes minded. We don't know. Like we're very much involved in like for crying out loud, me and you have on several occasions come up with these crazy storylines, these movie ideas, TV show ideas, and thinking about all these twists and turns that we can add into a storyline, that would fool everybody.
And, every episode.
Yeah, and that's why, like just a tiny sidebar. That's why me and you were so insanely shocked by the first Curious Caterer.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they threw us for an insane loop on that because
me too.
Yeah, like the first one. Now the second one, I saw it clear as day. That one was like, oh,
was that the guy that was the neighbor? Dennis, I think is his name.
No, if the first one was the
No, I'm talking about the second one.
The second one was the neighbor. Yeah, the second one was the neighbor, and then of course the third one was the ex-girlfriend, which was also kind of obvious, but at the same time,
okay, but I just loved the look on Andrew's face when you were like, Carrie found a plot hole, and he's like, oh yeah, where? And then we told him, and he's like, huh. Like, why did I think of that? I'm like, I didn't know what's happening to me. Where were you when I needed you? Like, oh my gosh.
I'll share it at the end when we're talking about episode 4 and some of the recent interviews, but I was just watching Pascal's after show interview from Sunday or yesterday, and there was a question about the rivalry between Rosemary and Randall, and her answer is very interesting.
Ooh.
Very intriguing.
Well, we all know Rosemary can't stand to be scooped.
I can't wait to share it because I was like, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah. But yeah. Okay, so we have that plot twist, and then we have Nathan obviously seeing the picture, which again is a total setup.
Oh yeah.
I think that's going to be part of the misunderstanding. Not necessarily all of it,
but they're very much building it up to being Nathan is misunderstanding what is going on between Lucas and Elizabeth.
I think it's part of it.
But I don't think it's the full thing that of all of the misunderstandings.
I think it's part of it.
There's going to be more than one misunderstanding. Yeah, I think there's going to be more than one misunderstanding. I feel like Elizabeth is going to get some misunderstandings happening as well, regarding Nathan's own feelings for her as well. Because I feel like Nathan is eventually, because of how he does, like you'll notice in the past seasons, like when he felt like Elizabeth was pulling away from him and going closer to Lucas, he would draw back. And I feel like that's going to happen. He's going to start drawing back because he's noticed that he's gotten a little too close again. And he's setting himself up to get heartbroken again, and he's not going to do it. He's not. And he's going to start stepping back from her, and that's going to then cause her like, oh, he doesn't have feelings for me anymore like he used to. But all of this going on with Lucas has pushed him away, and he no longer has feelings for me.
Yeah. I feel like y'all brought this up earlier, but in that scene, they pretty much both blatantly say, without exactly saying it, they're ready for Lucas to leave. Like
it's not necessarily Lucas though. It's just the situation.
Yeah.
Between Lucas, Elizabeth, and Nathan has always been there since the beginning, and it's not going to go away simply because they broke their engagement off. Like they're gonna have and we know based off of the after show interviews between Lucas, between Chris, Aaron, and Kevin, that there are going to be conversations about that.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin said, was it last week or was it week before, that the conversation about why Elizabeth rejected him will come up.
Yeah.
And Lucas said that there is a conversation between Lucas and Elizabeth about the whole situation between them. And I don't think it was the one that they had today. I think they're going to have a deeper one.
Before we start to wrap up, we do need to briefly talk about the Canfields.
Yes.
I love
y'all. What do y'all think of this?
Oh, man. Y'all, I love that we didn't have to have somebody else in the outside side characters to cause them to have any kind of light shown on them. I love that it really was just about them as a family, him as a dad, her as a wife and a mother, like her like trying to help him navigate the children while also trying to let him be the father and be the leader of the home at the same time. Like she stood back, she let him decide, okay, enough is enough. She sat there, she said, okay, you do your thing, you do your thing. You do your thing. And he did it. And all in all, we end up getting to find out more about the Canfields that we didn't know about before. And we get to find out that there is Joseph
has a brother.
And he has no contact. And it kind of brought me back to Lee with his sister. It kind of brought me back. So I'm kind of wondering if that kind of situation won't happen again for Joseph maybe down the line.
I think we're going to meet Joseph's
that's what
brother.
I was thinking.
I think it's going to be Doran Bell from the Wedding Veil Expectations. Because there's that video, I don't know if y'all saw it, that Deidre posted when she was on set. I think it's the episode with the music. And it's him, and I think Joseph's in there. I think Angela's in there, and maybe Molly, and maybe one other person.
I gotcha. But yeah,
if I can find it, I'll send it. Yeah.
Our little mascot. No, that's Ambrose. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. Rosie is named after Rosemary.
This is true.
Yep.
Yeah,
I can't wait to meet Joseph's brother.
I know. I think that's going to be really interesting, being able to see more sides of the Canfields that we haven't gotten to see yet.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we get to meet Minnie's family, because we know that there is like Joseph didn't always get along with her side of the family. Like they were never approving of Joseph. So it'd be really nice to be able to see Minnie's side of the family and how that dynamic is.
Yeah.
And I'm gathering her side of the family's well off in a sense as well, if I'm not mistaken. But the looks on Lucas, or sorry, Jack. I will get the right name out here in just a second, okay? My brain and my tongue are not matching up. Nathan, come on, Morgan, you have to help me out here with the other brain cell. Sorry, y'all.
Nathan and Bill?
No, Nathan and Elizabeth. The looks on their faces when Lucas announced
he was saying
in Hope Valley, you could just kind of see the crap. Okay.
So the first,
like the fact that they ended the past two episodes exactly the same, with them side by side staring off with shocked faces because of Lucas.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we want to?
I don't know if you guys can hear, but we got our mascots calling through the door.
I can hear him.
Do we want to briefly talk about episode 4 and then Derek's interview and Pascal's?
I have to talk about the scene between Bill and Nathan, and him pointing his finger at Newton like, what? I don't want to hear anything out of you either.
Newton throws shade. That's what Nicole kept saying the other day. Newton throws shade.
Yeah. And also Bill is
relationship between Newton and Nathan. Like, I think it's so cool.
Also, Bill is totally onto them, or onto Nathan about Elizabeth.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that Elizabeth's whore?
Yeah.
And like the looks that Rosemary gives Elizabeth every time they're around Nathan.
Yeah. And did you see Bill and Rosemary, their looks when Nathan and Elizabeth came in the Queen of? They're totally going to be a catalyst for them getting together.
Oh yeah.
I can definitely see it. I can definitely see that.
Yeah. But
Definitely.
do we want
Okay,
to
so on to season. So on to episode. Why do I always
4?
say season instead of episode 4? Y'all, this is one of the biggest anticipated episodes since they started announcing photos and announcing like the episodes and like the synopsis, because like we get the whole like Elizabeth falling and Nathan catching her, which they did release that scene, and it's absolutely adorable.
I think there's more to it. I feel like there's more to it after Allie interrupts them.
I don't. I feel like that's gonna be it. I think it's gonna be like a different. I think it's gonna get cut to a scene, and then we're gonna get the scene that they also sort of released where they're having the conversation, which I'll let you bring
Yeah.
that out, Nicole, since you have it written down.
Yeah.
But I love that Nathan still made his way over there just in case she does fall. Like, I love that. I love that he was still like making sure to protect her and to like help her.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cute.
Yes.
And by the way, just so anyone might have missed, that is the so-called wedding arch that Team Lucas thought was going to be in the last season. Sorry, it was not.
Foreshadowing. And I don't know if I said this or not. I don't know if I said this or not. I can't remember. But I think I did. The set designer, Sarah Maberly, I think I'm pronouncing her name right. She did say in a comment on the Hardys Facebook group when somebody posted the photo from later on of Nathan and Elizabeth under the arch smiling, she did say the arch was a big part of this season. Cough, cough. Foreshadowing much?
Oh, that's interesting.
Isn't that arch next to Abigail's?
It's behind Abigail's.
It's behind Abigail's.
I think I know it's at Abigail's. I guess it's behind.
Yeah, it's
they've got the door.
Yeah, it's behind Abigail's.
Yeah. But
Abigail's still working her magic.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
See,
but yeah, I do think that the wedding arch thing is kind of hilarious in a way.
Rosemary is still very much a part of Elizabeth's life.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that. I feel like that's kind of like a little bit of a, touch from Abigail, keeping her, her spirit alive in the show. And whenever they show the cafe, I still think of Abigail. I wish they wouldn't have named it the cafe. I wish they would have kept it as Abigail's.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that I do love that they brought that arch, especially because like it went so viral after Hardy Friends and Family and everything.
Family reunion.
Family reunion. It went viral. Everyone was like, "Oh, that's definitely the arch that Lee and Lucas were building for their wedding," and all of this kind of stuff.
Team Lucas is probably burning their pictures of the arch now.
Okay, so they want to burn the arch. We wanted to burn the bridge. Arch. We'll trade them.
Speaking of bridge, did anyone notice the model?
Yes.
The fact that Toby brought Elizabeth the bridge and she sat it down by the Mountie.
I definitely
walked in.
I definitely don't think that it means that like Lucas and Elizabeth are getting back together. Of course not. I mean,
no.
I think means
it's crazy. Like, there's no way there's a coincidence in the fact that Toby built a bridge and she takes it in her hands and then sits it down, and you can't even really. I couldn't see it. Now I was watching on my phone, so I don't know if it like minimizes or like cuts off anything, but you don't really see where she lays it down.
I didn't even catch the Mountie.
Yeah, you see the Mountie and the horse, and it's little Jack's Mountie and horse. It's his little his play set that we have all kind of like headcanon made up as what Nathan gave him at his christening.
I'm guessing I'm guessing it
We
just
all
means
thought that it was like a gift. We thought his Mountie horse and Mountie man was a gift from Nathan.
I'm guessing it means like the bridge is being put to rest. Like they will not have a scene on the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
I definitely do think that there's a reason behind it, but I don't think that is a positive sign for Team Lucas.
No,
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like
it's been made very clear they are done. The triangle is
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But moving on to episode 4.
Yes. Yeah.
So I just had to put that in there because I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
No, let us know. We can sit here and talk about one thing for like
it was like, but so we got to the arch and everything like that. I thought the scene was absolutely adorable.
It was,
and of course they get interrupted
by Allie. I think,
but like the eye from the mouth to the eye gaze.
I think it's very possible. Well, I think Allie already knows, but I think it's very possible
She
that
definitely like her signal is going through. She's like, I'm catching up on some things. Like there's something going on.
I think it's very possible she's going to say something, maybe in this episode, maybe in 5, when Nathan and Elizabeth clear up the misunderstanding. She's going to either tell one or both of them, y'all just need to tell each other how you feel. Say what you want to say, as Julie says.
Yeah,
I love that.
I do think that it's going to be needed that Allie says something, because we obviously saw like how she took their relationship in season 8 and like and season 7 and even in season 9. Like we saw how emotionally attached she got and how devastated she was, and I feel like it wouldn't be justified if they don't have Allie have some kind of saying all of this. And I feel like it's really going to be something when Allie's dad shows up.
I think that they will. But the Nathan and Elizabeth sneak peek that was very short, I think.
Yeah, this was like it was part of the commercial promo.
Yeah,
I think from
it was on Hallmark's YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
Nathan says, I think if somebody wants something bad enough, they'll figure it out. Elizabeth, what if there's a chance they could get hurt? Nathan, then I guess they just have to decide if it's worth it or not. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening.
Weren't Nathan's words to Elizabeth in season 8 that true love is always worth fighting for?
Love is always worth fighting for.
And isn't that what Elizabeth told Rosemary before Nathan told her? And that was a whole battle because Elizabeth thought Rosemary told Nathan to say that to her. And it made them get into a fight.
Yes. Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Lindsay is a mastermind.
Yes. Thank you, Lindsay. And we don't have to.
Absolutely.
We don't have to go in depth about this, but I just got to briefly mention I loved the sneak peek with Lee and Rosemary too, when they're talking about Janette. And Lee's kind of teasing her about Janette.
No, my whole favorite part of that was when she's like, okay, I gotta go talk to Elizabeth about this. He's like, you do realize it's the middle of the night and you're in your nightgown. She's like, when has that ever stopped? Like,
oh my god.
Like, come on, Lee.
Yeah.
Keep up.
Yes.
This has been nothing new.
Yeah. Also, yeah. Also, before we wrap up, we definitely need to talk just a little bit about Derek Thompson's interview that he did with Heart to Hearties. I think it was posted after we recorded last week for episode 2. But these are just some of the most important points from his interview. So he first was talking about it is traditional for the showrunner to write the first episode and for the first 1 or 2 episodes to be slower, to ease back into the season, tie up loose ends from the previous season, then set up conflicts that will play out for the rest of the season. And then when they asked, the admins asked about the party planning, he said Rosemary recognizes Elizabeth has feelings for Nathan and is setting her up to be pushed out of her comfort zone to start dealing with them. Let's see. A question was asked about how they will make the Nathan and Elizabeth romance different from her previous romances. None of them had the foundation of the long-standing friendship and shared experiences to build on. They gave them this little uncomfortable party planning thing where they both knew he wasn't a fan, but went along with it for Allie. Let's see. Next.
And that's so true, because if you really think about it, Jack and Elizabeth were never really friends either. Not really. Like, their friendship was, well, they had more of, it's definitely different than how they played everything with Lucas and Elizabeth. Like, Lucas and Elizabeth definitely were never friends. But with Elizabeth and Jack, there was always that they definitely liked each other as more than friends. Like, it was, it was definitely more, I feel like their stuff was definitely more enemies to lovers. Because let's face it, the first season, they were like, okay, like, I don't like you very much. I like you, but I don't like you. Yes.
Let's see.
I do think that Nathan and Elizabeth definitely had more of a long-standing friendship, and more of like, you support me, I support you. You're going through similar things that I'm going through. Like, let's lean on each other with these situations, obviously regarding Allie and little Jack and, Mountie stuff. Yeah. Because no one else really, other than maybe Rosemary, really understands what it's like to be a Mountie than Elizabeth. And Bill, of course, but Elizabeth kind of brings a different perspective than Bill.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah. Henry was brought up, and Derek says that Henry is working with his hands more, a new side of him. And the hazelnuts will keep him connected to Abigail without saying her name all the time. Rosemary, Lee, Bill, and he mentions Gowan, but I don't see any mention of Gowan in here. But Crime Board was designed to be Lee making up to Rosemary for missing their dates and showing he does support her. The intercut scenes were actually written that way, not just edited that way, to foreshadow Bill and Rosemary's common interest. And Rothgar wrung every bit of comedy possible out of the source line in the Mercantile. Let's see. On the porch / return of Lucas scene, the first question was asked why, and Derek replied, why not? But he did emphasize it was not a return of the triangle. They gave most of the first two episodes to letting a little romance feels build between Nathan and Elizabeth before being hit with the reality of Lucas's return and things getting sticky for a couple of episodes. Let's see.
I feel like that's realistic though.
Yeah.
Like, Lucas kind of popped their Hope Valley romance bubble. Yeah. And that's okay. Because it needed to be popped in a way, because I feel like they were starting to get a little too comfortable with each other. And there weren't any conversations that were needing to be had before it really is a romance to happen. I feel like the bubble needed to be popped by Lucas coming into town.
Plenty of good stuff for Lucas in season 11. Learn a lot more about him and shows a lot of growth, a lot of good things for all three of them ahead. So I guess he's referring to Nathan and Elizabeth too. And then let's see. Okay, these are the, and I'll go back to one of the most important and interesting points in a second, but they did at the end the Hardy ship, kind of like Battleship, and will Janette be portrayed by an immediately recognizable actress was classified. Lucas will concede to a haircut by correspondence school barber Robert was a miss. And then let's see. Toddler Rosie, or No,
Goldie.
Goldie, sorry. I don't know why that's in there. Toddler Goldie will wreck the crime board, but Rosemary will still win out with the investigation and it actually happened on set, but not sure it made the final cut. I kind of hope it did make the final cut.
That would be so precious.
Yes.
Yes.
Nathan's urgent need for eggs will begin to raise eyebrows around town was classified.
Hey.
Okay. And then this one, I think this was probably my favorite answer from Derek about the birthday card and, that little Jack made and whether that will come back up. He said it will lead to a really touching scene with Nathan and little Jack regarding their relationship. And he said both potentially expanding their families and joining families. That's going to be big shoes for Nathan to fill. That sounds like a wedding to me. Right there. Stepping into...
Morgan's gonna cry.
Tell me that does not sound like a wedding.
Oh, 100%.
Tell me that does not. I mean, big shoes for Nathan to fill, stepping into Jack's shoes as
And him having a conversation with little Jack about that. Oh my gosh.
yeah. And that wraps up Derek's interview in the most
Okay. I had to be rational because I can't get my hopes up because I'm not gonna do that. Y'all are not gonna pull me to the dark side.
I mean, I'm still trying to keep my expectations low, but I mean that
still have that well, I mean, the thing about it is they're like he can have that conversation with little Jack before he starts any kind of like even just the courtship between Elizabeth and him. He can have that conversation.
It would be for him to ask little Jack's permission.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like permission to date his mom, even though he's little and he doesn't understand that. I'm just saying, like, there could still be a conversation that Nathan has with little Jack, just involving a relationship, period, between him and his mom.
Yeah.
And like big shoes, I mean, it could be something where there's a conversation that Elizabeth and Nathan have, and he really realizes, like, look, I mean, I'm already a dad to Allie. And I don't have any intentions of automatically stepping into Jack's shoes as little Jack's father. No, you are his mom. You set the tone.
I'm trying to keep my expectations low, but
I know I'm trying, but you guys are really pulling me hard to the dark side. And I don't want it.
That, I mean, I think that was the biggest. That was the biggest clue, and the episode 11 title was just released. The episode 11 title is "Run to You," and it was written by Derek, and he said it's a big episode.
Oh, that Carrie's frozen.
Oh my gosh, I just missed all of that because my internet cut out for a second.
Yeah, you were frozen.
You want me to say it again?
Please, because my internet cut out. Okay. So the episode title is what now?
The episode 11 title is called "Run to You."
Aww.
And it was written by Derek, and Derek said in the Heart to Hardy's interview, it's a big episode.
Aww. Well, Morgan, as Jeremy says, come to the dark side. We have cupcakes.
Don't bring the husband into this.
Okay.
He stays out. Okay. So, final point, because we've been in this for like an hour, 2 hours.
I wanted to briefly mention a couple of points from Pascal about the investigation real quick.
Okay.
Good work.
Okay, so the question, what's next in Rosemary and Bill's investigation? They end up doing a really good job of turning over every stone in the investigation. They're not willing to rule out Montague, but they're also not willing to zero in on him either as the one and only suspect. They're going to pursue other avenues as well. The fact that they aren't officially supposed to be investigating it, I think it actually gives them a little bit of freedom to play outside the box on this and maybe a bit unconventional as the season goes on. I think what people will find is they might zero in on, oh, we think it's this person. Like we think it's Montague who's the mastermind But I will say as the season progresses, you'll become less confident in that call, which I think is really great that Rosemary and Bill pursue it. But I think it's also a testament to the writing that they don't just give you the answer of who it is, and then that's the only path that's being explored. New suspects emerge, and it kind of goes, okay, maybe we need to look at this from a different angle, both as Rosemary and Bill, but also as the audience when they're watching it. Nobody is safe. Everyone is being looked at for sure. And then, how much will Rosemary and Randall's rivalry push her in the investigation into Lucas's shooting? That relationship takes a very unexpected turn near the end of the season. It's not romantic, and Rosemary or Pascal kind of laughs when she says that, like, it's not romantic, but also not as antagonistic. And then, will Rosemary get herself into any trouble with this investigation? Bill keeps her on the straight and narrow. It does end up culminating in a mess for Rosemary. She's not in a good situation by the end of the season. I think it really catches her off guard. Her circumstances that she ends up in. And then, could Rosemary be the one to push Lucas into remembering what he doesn't know or remember about that night? No one is the catalyst for it. It ultimately comes to him on his own through other circumstances. Those were like the big points about the investigation and Lucas.
Interesting.
Wow.
And Randall Rockwell. The one about Rosemary being in danger, it was like, okay, is Rosemary?
I do feel like Rockwell is going to have a toe into that because I feel like Rosemary's really going to become a threat as the season goes on to his story. Maybe she goes into because think about it, she wants to know who is Randall Walkwell's source.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe that has to do with that. Okay, so last and final point before we go.
Yeah.
Janette officially makes her way to Hope Valley.
I'm excited to meet Janette.
I am too. I think that she's really going to turn Hope Valley upside down, especially for Lucas and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And the investigation, because I think it's very well known that people say that someone's going to come in and they're going to flip everything up. They're going to catapult this investigation. I definitely feel like that's going to be Janette. I've been noticing a lot of people have been making parallels of Janette's entrance into Hope Valley is a lot like Rosemary's first entrance into Hope Valley.
That's the only parallel.
I'm not gonna lie, I can kind of see it. I don't think it's gonna obviously have the same ending as Rosemary had with Jack, obviously. But I do think that she's gonna stir some things up a lot like how Rosemary did. I think that she's gonna make a lot of waves in Hope Valley in a lot of different areas for Elizabeth, Lucas, the investigation with Rosemary and Bill. Probably will even tip some things off for Nathan. I feel like his Mountie instincts are going to start blaring. Again, like I said in the beginning, I think it's either going to be Edwin or Janette who is going to be involved with the shooting.
Or someone completely different.
Absolutely. But I do feel like it's going to be one of those two. I don't think it's going to be. I feel like Montague is going to be like the puppet master. But I don't think that he. Obviously, I don't think Montague's actually the one that pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested. I'm really excited to see this side of Lucas because we haven't seen someone like this come into Lucas's life that has a history with him, other than obviously his parents. His mom. And Gustav.
I'm calling it. I think she's engaged. Like she either was engaged or either maybe married, and then the thing never went through for a divorce.
I do think that it's true.
There was some relationship.
I do think that there is some truth there. I think that she was married and she is a widow. But I do think there was something serious between the two of them, whether it was an engagement, a failed engagement, much like Lucas and Elizabeth's, or I don't think they were married. I definitely will say that. I don't think that Lucas and Janette were ever married. An engagement is a possibility, or maybe he was about to ask her to marry him, and she like obviously ran for the hills probably because it was too serious for her. I feel like she's definitely one of those that doesn't want to be tied down. She seems like that kind of a woman that doesn't want to be tied down.
Yeah.
Which I know, like, in order to be a widow, you had to be tied down in a marriage. But I'm just saying, like, you know, but I definitely think she's gonna really stir some things up for Lucas this season. She's gonna expose a different side of Lucas that we haven't seen and that Elizabeth hasn't seen. That just like Rosemary did, whenever she first came into town, she exposed some things about Jack that Elizabeth didn't realize and that the rest of the town didn't know. So I think that we're gonna see a lot of who Lucas was before he came to Hope Valley. I'm really interested to see that because I really have been missing that side of Lucas, being able to see some mystery, some secrets come out that we didn't realize were there.
The clip when Janette walks up to Elizabeth and Lucas is like, "Oh crap!"
like yeah. The same look that Jack, the same look that Jack had whenever he spotted Rosemary next to Elizabeth.
He was like,
the same thing.
Yep.
Oh, crud muffin.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm so excited to see that because like I really, that was one thing that I couldn't wait till I was kind of hoping that we weren't just gonna have governor stuff with Lucas. Don't get me wrong, I'm really excited for the governor stuff with Lucas because he's been killing it. I mean, like he's been amazing as this role. Like Chris McNally has really been killing this side of Lucas. I've been loving it. So I'm excited to see a whole other new part of Lucas through Janette's eyes.
Yeah.
And like what she exposes.
And I think Cecilia is going to kill it as Janette.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's gorgeous and she definitely has that chemistry with Chris, which is like palpable even in the little bit of scene that we did get.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I hate to cut this off, but we've been going for like 2 hours, and I'm ready to go eat the pizza that my husband has brought in here while we've been recording.
What else is new with us? I mean,
if you guys aren't used to this by now, then there's something wrong.
I know, but I have to upload this, and these files take forever to upload when they get this long.
Maybe next week we can cut it down, but I doubt it.
I doubt it. I feel like as the season goes, we're gonna be up to 4 hours.
Like, what's it gonna be if Nathan and Elizabeth get married?
I am laying down the law. I am not taking that much time away from my husband when he has been gone all day, and we start recording when he gets home from work.
What's it gonna be when?
Hey, you're the one that wanted to bring the podcast back from the dead. Don't keep complaining now.
What's it gonna be when Nathan and Elizabeth get married? Like we gonna be talking for 3 hours? Gushing over them.
I mean, come on.
I'm not complaining. I'm just setting the rules.
Well, just get Jeremy to start watching the show, and then he can join the podcast, and we'll do it together.
So the problem is he doesn't want to watch the show. Bella wants to watch the show. She wanted to sit in on tonight. I'm like, no, you don't know the show. Oh my gosh. But anyway, all right, guys, we love y'all. We will see y'all again next week. We're so excited to continue this season, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.